but I don't necessarily like all their records as a whole. I don't necessarily like all the songs, and it's the same with Annihilator. There's some singers or some songs or albums that you're going to like from Annihilator, and there's some that you're going to say, that sucks. I don't like what he went and did that kind of thing, or whatever. And that's another beautiful thing about the internet. You can almost just check this out and go, you know what, I don't like this guy or this album or this something, and you can skip it and not waste your money and move on.
What's the current lineup of Annihilator, and do you feel it's going to stay this way with these people in the band?
Well, pretty much the core of this band for the last 5-6 years has been Dave Padden, who's our singer and guitar player, and Jeff Waters, who's the guitar player and occasional singer, and that's it. I just whoever's available, and I got a nice list of really cool drummers and bass players that Dave and I will just say, hey, who's available now? And then we'll just say, sometimes they're the same guys we've had a few years back or a few tours back, and it's become more of a Waters Padden Annihilator, I guess, in the last 5-6 years. And it just, Dave was just another singer. We've had, quote, just another singer, really, replacing Joe Comeau, who replaced Randy Rampage, who replaced Jeff Waters, who replaced Aaron Randall from Set the World on Fire, who replaced Cobra Fire from Never Neverland era, who replaced the very first guy when the first album, Alice in Hell, which was Randy Rampage. So we've had 5 or 6 singers, and Dave was just another singer coming in, and he was, in fact, a pretty new singer. He'd never really sang before. But somehow he's evolved to, now he's not the new singer, he's the getting better every day singer, and also a fantastic rhythm guitar player, and a la Hetfield type of guitar player. So he's went from being just the new guy singing on the new Annihilator record to now he's working on his 4th Annihilator studio CD right now, which, people I think now will start to go, oh, yeah, okay, this looks like he's really in it for a while here.
Yeah.
So it's more of a team there, but we've got the same drummer with us that was on the last couple tours. His name's Ryan Ahoff, and he was on a few of the 05, 06 shows with us that we were doing, and the main thing is the record, and Dave and I and the drummer work on the record, and then we just find out who's available and let's go touring,
Any CDs that are out now or any CDs that are coming that you're looking forward to hearing?
I'd like to hear the new Metallica when that comes out. I think working with Rick Rubin's going to definitely steer them in a direction that the earlier fans will probably like, I hope. But you can't. You know what? I don't think you can take a band like that, or my band, or most of these older bands. I don't think you can. I mean, it may have been done a few times, but I don't think you can actually take a band like that right back to the beginning and back to the roots. As much as everybody wants to go back and capture the Master of Puppets or the Annihilator, Alice in Hell, or Never Neverland, or the Slayer, Rain and Blood, or Haunting the Chapel, or Hell Awaits. As much as we'd all love to go back there and come up with that kind of thing, unfortunately, songs, and this is kind of fact. Unfortunately, songs are something you do at the moment, at the time, and regardless of what you think, if you're 20 years old or you're 36 years old, there is a huge difference because you've lived 16 more years of life. You've learned so many different things. You've screwed up. You've done well. You've done good things. You've done bad things. Your whole life has totally changed, and as a songwriter, that affects what you're doing, whether you know it or not. It affects it. That's why AC/DC cannot go back and write Back in Black. Slayer can't go back to Rain and Blood. I can't do Alice in Hell or Never Neverland again. And Metallica won't be able to do a Master of Puppets again. I mean, that said, there are the rare exceptions. Maybe one of these bands comes out and can pull it off. But I don't know. You know what? There's the closest I remember in the 80s metal thing was, Judas Priest went and put out Painkiller after 14 records or 13 records. They put out this album in 1990 called Painkiller, which most people know of, and that was a shock because 14 records. Think about that. They had albums like Helmet for Leather, British Steel, Scream for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith. Those 4 albums were just mint. They were like the best, and for them to turn around after all that time and pull out a Painkiller was just a rare exception. Think about that. It's Rain and Blood too. I mean that was anyway. So I think they can probably go back in that direction. I've tried that on some of my records to sort of take a bit of my early influences and see if I can go back. But yeah, I could never do the stuff I did in the first few records. And I hope Metallica has a mixture of both. I think they can do some of the early vibe that they got, capture as much of that as they can, but they're also going to not be able to get rid of the new Metallica stuff too, right? That's them now. Well, I think a lot of fans should really, remember who who they are, who they were,
yeah,
and what they did for this kind of music, and forget about any of the negative things that some fans might feel, and give them the respect they deserve. They influenced almost every musician in the 90s was influenced by Ulrich and Hetfield. Yeah.
Now, hey, they got, the new album coming out. I heard a fall tour. Maybe we can see you guys on that. Right?
Yeah, right. Unless one of them really likes my band, I somehow don't think that'll ever happen.
Hey, you never know.
Yeah.
You can always hope.
Put out the message, hey, man. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I hope to be off touring there in the early new year, 2009.
We're looking forward to it.
Well, that's going to about do it for the SPV Podcast, the Annihilator edition. I want to go ahead and thank Jeff Waters again for taking time out of his day to do the interview with us. Hopefully we'll see them on the road in early 2009 with the release of their new record, which he said you should see sometime in early 2009, maybe late January, early February. Remember, if you want to enter the giveaway so you can win a signed copy of the Annihilator Metal CD, all you need to do is send an email to podcast@spvmarketing.com. That's podcast@spvmarketing.com, and answer this trivia question: how many special guests are on the Annihilator Metal album? One more time, how many special guests are on the Annihilator Metal album? If you know the answer to the question and I pick your name, you'll win an autographed copy of the Annihilator CD Metal. And if you don't know the answer to the question, it's not that hard to figure it out. You might want to look at the CD, look it up, maybe the Annihilator website, which is annihilatormetal.com. Wikipedia might be a good source as well. It's not too hard to answer this question, but if you do answer it correctly, you do have a chance at winning a signed copy of the CD. Well, that's going to do it for the podcast. I am Freeman. Make sure you join us next time on the SPV Podcast. We'll have some more great interviews, some more great music, and all the latest news in the world of SPV.